Hello, my loves, and welcome back to BehatiLife YouTube channel. If you're meeting for the first time, welcome. And for those of you that are old friends and family, welcome back. As you guys can tell by the title of today's video, we have some things to discuss. I don't know if you've been tuning in to the news lately, but here in the United States, there's been a lot that's been going on politically, and I'm going to be shuffling on it today. I'm going to be reading the energy, seeing exactly what is going to happen, what is happening, and what we can do as high vibrational beings to prepare ourselves to help to show up for each other and also for ourselves. Having said that, I do want to give you guys a big old disclaimer that I have done many difficult predictions on my YouTube channel. I've looked into cold cases. I've looked into really awful M-word situations where people have been unalived. When the cases just developed and I've shuffled, read the energy, intuitively downloaded a lot. And it is understandably one of always the most difficult readings. I am 100% the real deal when it comes to reading energy. I hear things and see things when I'm opening myself up that I would never expose myself to any other way. And the intention is always to help. Having said that, I have really strong boundaries, especially now, because I'm currently pregnant, and two, because it is not, we are in a season historically of a lot of radical change, and to try to pin the energy right now is not impossible. And by pin, I mean define it. It's not impossible. It's just very changeable. It's meant to change. It's meant to be radical. It's meant to be thought-provoking and to really shift the way that we have all been moving as like in humanity. I've been saying for years that the issues that we have been and are facing are not us against them type of thing. We're all in this together, and by us against them, I mean globally. There's so much that is calling us to be aware of just how much we all have in common. And with that, there's going to be terrible things that happen. And if this is not what you are prepared to listen to receive, to understand, to tune into, I don't blame you. The reason why I'm doing this reading today is because it was highly requested. It is a difficult conversation, and because I do believe that I can give explanations, answers, guidance, support, and oftentimes through truth telling, it helps to ease anxiety. So the next disclaimer that I want to share, and then I promise we'll dive in, is that I do not talk about my political affiliations, my political belief here on my YouTube channel or even on my Instagram. Definitely not BehatiLife. I do not want anybody to assume that I am choosing one side over the other. We are going to be reading the energy from the way that I always do, responsibly, here on the YouTube channel. That's what you can expect from me always. Just a second. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. Angels and guides from the highest lights of the universe, coming from where I sit and stand now, I connect with you and I ask you for clarity, for insight, for visions. What is happening in the United States? Wow. From your perspective, what do you see? Wow, that card just dropped, so I gotta go chase it. Judgment card. Can you clarify the Two of Cups for me, please? Clarify Judgment. And clarify the Hangman reversed. Okay, now this is we're going to start off with Spirit's interpretation of what is happening in the United States and also globally a little bit. So the first card to jump out, and I know you saw this, was the Two of Cups. I'm going to go ahead and read this as if this was simply tarot and not my intuition. But the Two of Cups represents unity, coming together. But the first thing that's really sticking out to me is this idea of like polarizing sides, these major differences that we have not been able to, I don't want to say accept, but we haven't really embraced. There's this feeling of like embracing each other. Obviously with the Two of Cups here, there's this feeling of embracing differences and the things that segregate us, the things that separate us from each other. Oftentimes this has to happen through shifts in reality, from letting go of how we were once seeing things, how we once see ourselves, how we perceive things. It could be stereotypes, it could be our perception, our internal beliefs, things that we don't necessarily call into question. We just accept them as status quo. It is what it is. Now, some of this is generational. It's passed on from those who have come before us. We don't necessarily always see this as negative. We see it as it's almost like survival, or it's the way of the world. Like it's the way that our things are founded. It's the way that things are based upon, the foundation of it. However, Two of Cups supported by Four of Cups reversed, Three of Pentacles reversed, and the Death card reversed. This is something, this way of life, this way of thinking, this way of boxed thinking, every single one of us individually, it's getting called into question. It hasn't been serving us. This is not just in the United States, but this is global. There's also, it's interesting because I'm seeing like with the Two of Cups energy here, through difficulty, through challenges, and through things that that are abrasive, that disrupt us, make us uncomfortable, make us scared, make us activated, make us angry, ignite something within us. There's that first ignition, like that first something that ignites us. It sets us, it makes us uncomfortable, and we are first passionate. Then we start to, as a whole, we get to move past that because we're starting to see others' anger. We're starting to see others' pain. We're starting to see others' suffering. This is going to be tricky though, and this is not something that's overnight. This is not just this year of us filming, like of me filming this. This is a major season of transition that specifically the United States has been facing. Is what does it mean to be, sorry, but like honestly, what does it mean to be American? What does it mean to have the common good for America, like for the country? Not just for Americans, but also how each of us individually can support and uplift and take care of each other globally. What does that look like? There has been a super segregation, even from the countries. Like the way that like an imbalance. This could have a lot to do with trading. This could have a lot to do with resources. This could have a lot to do of natural resources, cleanliness, health, like the ability to access things that we as human beings, we should, if things were healthy and cohabitating like in the right way, we would not have an issue with it. Every mouth would be every mouth would be fed. But this is a bigger issue of separation and us against them. That's not my problem. This is why this is happening right now from the spiritual realm, is not just in the United States, but all over the world, is this disinterest in the experience, the pain, the suffering of people, of humans, of humanity. This is why there's anger too and resentment, because there are many families and many people from all different walks of life, from rich to poor to in between, that have experienced neglect, and the way that Spirit is saying it is drought. There's this instinctual sense of fear that human beings have, and this is why there is a hold on power. This is why there is a lust for power. This is why the powers that be, how I'm seeing this is like messengers. Like they're messengers. They're something similar to pawns. Like they're not really the ones who are in control here. Especially with the Knight of Swords. There is no king or queen here. In fact, the Emperor is reversed. That is the closest we get to leadership, and the Emperor is reversed. That tells me all I need to know, which means that there's too many powers that be judgment card here that are speaking through pawns. And this is something that also is, I'm hearing the word separate, like I'm hearing the word actually segregate, like separate. It creates us versus them, like this side versus this side, this country versus this country. There's so much separation. It's all over the world. It's all over the globe. This is where Spirit sees that. I don't want to say you're reading between the lines, because the way through this is by seriously leaning into what, not to bring astrology into this, but the way through this is by leaning into what Neptune transiting through Pisces is trying to teach us, especially since Neptune is currently retrograde. What does this mean? This means that there needs to be a leader, or there is an awakening, right? Because when we say, where do we get this, Jess? Where do we find this? Spirit says that when it gets dire enough, there will be a humble leader, like a humble warrior that moves from the heart, that is very, very sensitive, that ends up, I don't say calling the shots, but ends up being the voice that kind of directs things, almost like a martyr, like they almost sacrifice themselves. This person has not appeared yet. This is what Spirit is showing me. And I see this actually in 20 years, like the number 20 or 22 is coming through right now. But I think before that, there's going to be a lot of eruptions. Like there's going to be continued eruptions. I'm hyper focusing on elections, like when people are being called into power or being initiated into positions of power. They don't move past the Knight of Swords, regardless of who is the leader, regardless of their credentials, regardless of what they say. I do not see I don't see, not intelligence, but I don't see wisdom moving past a certain level. We're stuck, we're stunted. It's going to trickle into the people. Like it genuinely, I've been seeing this and I'm sensing it now. It's going to trickle into the people where I think that it's weird. I'm almost seeing like helpers, like the sensitives, like sensitive people, very like in tune to the suffering of everyone, like globally, like people who really dedicate. They don't do it for work. They don't do it for money. They don't do it for identity or popularity. They don't do it for self-serve. Even things that the leadership may say that this is the way to do it. Like we have to focus on money. We have to this is a priority. Priorities right now are off. I don't know if you guys read tarot. I don't know if you guys are seeing this. If you're reading the energy, the priorities are off. It's like all Spirit is saying that the fix, like where these separating parties are saying that there's a solution, there is no solution. It's wrong. The solution is in humanity. The solution is in peace. The solution is in offering, like every one of us individually offering of ourselves. I was trying to say this, but I'm almost seeing this like ants or bees, like bees all over the world. Individually, they seem weak, they seem small, they seem insignificant, but they contribute to the colony. And I see all of these bees, like swarms of bees and swarms of ants kind of building themselves into this force, and it's the people. And the people end up protecting even the leadership. That's where this is going to ultimately end up coming from. I do see, I heard the word tariff, so look out for that. Look out for that. I'm using my phone to record right now. If someone could use a definition of tariffs in the future. There's an emphasis on tariffs in the news in the future, or something concerning that in the near future. I'm also seeing a connection to trade, and how Spirit sees trade right now is a problem. In the United States, I'm seeing this as a hyper focus on like wealth and abundance, and not taking leadership. It is a huge problem in the realms of spirituality and in the spiritual terms. I see Spirit having a big issue with how things are moving. Resources, I'm almost seeing this as consumerism, misfits. I'm hearing like the like what we prioritize is misfitting, like it's misfitted, and the collective consciousness, when we're weak, we go along with it. We fall into this well, and the well keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's what, the further we go when it comes to resources and finances, the deeper you get into debt, the deeper you get, it's there to paralyze you and to make you feel like you don't have enough, when you can actually empower yourself. If every little pod of person, if every little colony, if every little ant community empowered itself and did its research, did its homework, and started building its little cohabitative, like its little environment, this would be largely beneficial, not only to the environment, but also government and politics, because it would have no choice but to force this Knight of Swords to turn into an actual leader, or to be replaced by someone who can continue to foster a healthy environment. I just heard it's not impossible. Like, this is something that people say that's not possible. It is. It is. There's something here that we need to, there's a need. This is going back to the people right now, right? We have our eyes fixated on the news, but we need to fixate our eyes on our families and our heart. That's where we need to go to, is what we can do right now in our own backyards, in our own community, in our own place of worship, is what I'm hearing, in our own homes, in our own environment. What can we do to supplement, is the word that I'm hearing, to supplement. Talk to me about the word supplement. I'm hearing, wow, Four of Swords, rest, using less, like literally using less. Do not think for 1 second that you are insignificant or that you do not hold tremendous value and power. You do not need to scream. You do not need to, it doesn't need to be this loud display. It's this quiet demonstration of rebellion. Some of you guys may need to really turn off the news and rest, find rest, because the more that you get activated and angered and ignited by what's happening, the more that it's going to be easier and trickier for you to fall into the well. The more that you fall into this well, this bottomless pit of seemingly no solutions, or the solution is someone saying, here, I'll grab your hand and I'll pull you up out of this, but they're not really pulling you out of the well. They keep dropping you back in it. Every 4 years, you drop right back into the well again. How can that be a solution? How is this not different? With the Judgment card here, Knight of Swords, the World card, and the Strength card, how are we not different? Like, how have we not grown? How have we not evolved from the beginning to the middle, to the end, or to where we stand now? How is it the same? What in the past did people do to provide for themselves? What did that look like? Some of you guys have this feeling of like a burden, right? A spirit is telling me the word burden. Like you think about like how it's impossible, Jess. Like I can't move forward. I can't get like, if this is like property, or if this is whatever the situation is, you can start where you are. Think about the ancestry and think about how they started with nothing, or think about how they needed bare minimum. What's the future? I'm going to shuffle. That's what Spirit sees right now. I'm going to talk about the future. Oh my goodness. The Hermit card and the Moon card. What's the future? What can we prepare ourselves and plan for? Tower card and the Moon card. I just heard someone, and I heard someone say, I'm not afraid. It was a declaration. I am not afraid. The Death card and the Moon card. I am not afraid. Spirit says there is nothing for you to be afraid of. The power is literally in your hands. The Death card and the Six of Cups. If you're someone who is streaming from America, you hold a tremendous power within your hands. Death card and Seven of Pentacles. You need to take a look back and you need to see. You need to separate yourself. Say, I am not a part of this. Like, you can look at what's going on the news. You can look at what's going on in the world, and you could say, that doesn't reflect me. That is not who I am. That is not my goals. That's not my morals. The Death card and the Three of Swords. What's in the future? What's the future of the United States? I'm going to focus on the United States. However, every time I try to focus, Spirit kind of pulls me back and says we have to focus globally. Also, I didn't say this disclaimer. My partner is here, not here with us in the room, but he's home. So if you hear any noise in the background. What is the future of the United States? Yeah, there's going to be, wow. You guys see this coming. I was just kind of, yeah. There's going to be major issues when it comes to finances, money, spending, resources. It's going to be, I heard the word like destitute, like just not, things are going to get dirty. Meaning like there might be an issue with food, water. There's an issue with resources. Things feeling like they're drying up. There's going to be... I don't see this as like dry desert, but I see it as opportunity. I see it as opportunity. Things that we have taken for granted, I'm hearing things that Americans have taken for granted in the future they're no longer going to be able to take for granted. There's going to be huge issues with housing market, spending money, career, jobs. Yeah. This is going to come from, oh God. This is going to come from leadership. I understand that we have two presidential candidates right now. Each have their own way, is what I'll say. I'm not going to... There's just so much. Let me just shuffle on that before I say anything. Yeah. When it comes to who's going to be elected, I'm not going to give an answer to that because people get angry. the way that it is right now is the way that it will be. It will not work out, though. Like, meaning, how do I say this without being cryptic? As much as they're, oh God, can I just say this without, oh God, I'm being told not to say anything what I want to, because the part of me that's just like, fuck it, is here in the room too, you know? Like, that's who I am as a person. When I'm with my friends, if you met me on the side on the road, I don't sugarcoat things. I just feel like I need to like not say anything right now. Anyway, I will say that the person who is elected, who is destined to be elected, we're gonna have to they owe a lot. That's what I'm hearing. They owe a lot. And we have to question their, I don't say moral compass, but we have to question the intention. Clarify the Emperor. 5 of Swords. Hangman. 7 of Pentacles reversed. Something about this person is going to have a trigger effect on e-commerce. Like, tariffs is the word tariffs keeps coming through. What does that mean? Hold on. Let me Google it real quick. Tariffs. Give me a second, guys. Definition. Government. A tax or duty to be paid on a particular class of imports or exports. Fix the price of something according to a tariff. The importing countries usually benefit from a tariff, as they are the ones imposing the tariff and collecting the revenue. Domestic businesses also benefit from tariffs because it makes their products cheaper than imported goods, hence driving up the demand for their products. Something about tariffs, spending money, resources, I see an issue with this. This person's focus is in importing like goods, like taxes, like spending money. Spirit doesn't like this. I don't know why, but it's like I'm actually getting like the need to kind of like not vomit, but like it's something when that happens, it's not because I'm sick, it's because my body physically senses Spirit's rejection of this. Like this need to repulse, reject it. You have to when the 5 of Swords shows up, you have to look at someone's intentions and why. 5 of Swords, for those of you guys that don't know, this is the card that represents like people winning, but at what cost? Like a person winning or in a position to power, but at what cost? 7 of Pentacles reverse is the need to take a step back and look at resources, to look at what we have, or this person not refusing to do that. The problem that it causes, it seems superficially, it seems like a solution, but over time it depletes, it creates bigger issues, especially globally. For anybody who feels powerless in this when I'm doing the reading, you should not be afraid. This is not going to be a one person who is your neighbor fixes, like shows up and screams and then all of a sudden like it's fixed. This is a part of, I just heard the word generic, and now Spirit's asking me to look at the word generic. It's a generic like solution to problems. Like it's, hold on, generic. We know what generic means, definition, but why is Spirit using this word? Characteristics of or relating to a class or group of things not specific. A consumer product having no brand name or registered trademark. Relating to or shared by a whole group of similar things, not specific to any particular thing. Like it just, the way that they're using this word generic means like you're not going to be this one person who has this unique solution that's going to fix everything. It will be something that, I don't want to say resolves itself, but over time and movement forward and the direty of it, like the dramatic, dire need. I also get a sense that this is a pivotal time where we don't, as a country, like, we don't have the right. If we give our power to the powers that be, that we think are the powers that be, we're not going to make good choices for ourselves, for our community, for our country. We're just going with the status quo and accepting this as normal, when in reality we're actually not powerless. We're just kind of going with the flow, and whatever narrative is being spun is what we digest. But at the same time, don't expect that you put a sign on your front lawn and you putting that sign and picketing is going to change everything. And I say that because it's not you who can change it all, but you will be one of many who are contributing to the change. If you're listening to this reading right now and you feel powerless, if you feel vulnerable, if you feel weak, if you feel scared, you shouldn't. I also just heard the word Rasputin. Let me Google that. December 30th, 1916. Who is this? Rasputin. Who is? Is that Russia? Oh, Lord. A Russian mystic and faith healer. A trusted advisor of the Russian royal family, but made deadly enemies. His violent 1916 assassination is the stuff of legend, leaving historians to piece together what is fact and what is fiction. Yeah, dude, something about Russia. Rasputin is the name. If you guys don't, I'm never going to be one to come on here and say, like, believe me or nothing like that. But, like, if you go back and look at my predictions, especially, like, murder cases, and how I did the Gabby Petito case, I did the Idaho M words. Am I allowed to say that on internet? I'm not. And then I did, is her name? It's not Kamika. It was another beautiful soul. I was just talking to my friend about this the other day, and how it's just, I don't want to go any deeper in this because I'm not trying to feel and see things. I'm not scared of the future. And neither should you be. But for peace of mind and as a mom now, wow, a concept, right? It's in my best interest always, and in your best interest, to focus on the growth that you can contribute to your home environment. And actually, let's go ahead and look into that, because why am I talking about that right now is actually one of the next questions. What can you do? I do want to kind of look into this Russian. There's going to be a connection to Russia already in the works. It's like I'm actually getting someone kind of looking at their watch, tick, 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 like pointing at their clock, like their wristwatch, and being like, you owe me something. Like, we have a deal. We have an agreement. I'm also seeing the connection to tariffs again, like the hyper focus on tariffs. Okay. Spirit, what do we do? What is the advice? Oh, sharing. Knight of Wands, or sorry, King of Wands. Finally, a king or a queen. Eight of Cups. Two of Cups reversed. Seven of Swords. Six of Cups, Knight of Pentacles reversed, Judgment card reversed, Queen of Wands, yes, Five of Wands. This has empowering yourselves unlimitedly, like empowering yourselves. It's interesting, I'm looking at the sunflower here, and I see this, Spirit is showing me of all the symbolism. Spirit is talking to me about looking at the sunflower, right? And there's a few symbolism, like a few messages and symbolic things that fall behind that. But I'm going to talk to you about the first one that comes through. Think about if you had a pack of sunflower seeds, not roasted, but ones that you can plant. And you decided to dedicate some of your space to growing these sunflower seeds. You grow them, you tend to them. When it's time, you pull the sunflower seeds off. You share them with your friends and your family. When it's time, you roast them as like snacks or treats, or you use them to nourish your body. You sell them to different shops, whatever the case is. There's something about what we can do in order to empower ourselves instead of disempower ourselves. The Judgment card shows up, and this is us within ourselves saying, you know what? I walk away from this. This doesn't represent me. I'm also seeing for some of you guys cutting costs and spendables, like dispendables. Is that the word that you're using? Like things that like they're dispensable. Like you, I hope that makes sense. Like just not only say disposable things, but like Spirit is showing me like a vending machine, like eating out of a vending machine versus doing things from scratch and not getting caught in consumerism. Why Spirit is talking about consumerism is because that's what's leading to the downfall, is this need, craving for more that contributes to this pit that we just keep finding ourselves falling within. It's just a new way of doing the same thing again and again and again. You want to cut costs. You want to look into sharing. You want to look into contributing what you contribute. It's the ways of the old world. It's neighborhoods. It's communities. It's showing up. It's volunteering. It's you're leading your contribution in some way. That's what you can do. Seven of Swords, Five of Wands is this wonderful sense of dissociation and disconnection that says, I am not a part of all of what is happening here. I'm bigger than it. I've moved past it. I'm beyond it. I'm sorry to say this, but it's giving me anxiety. Like I have this really unnerved feeling in my stomach of this connection between, I don't know if it's the United States and Russia, and looking into that and like really questioning the intention. I'm also seeing like angry China. Like if China's about to get cut off from something, oh my God, this makes me really nervous, and I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. If China's about to get cut off from something, or if that's a part of the plan, this is going to erupt a huge issue that is going to be really hard for people to turn their heads away from their TVs and not look into it. It's going to create a lot of fear. Someone owes something. I feel like this is like, you owe me. Like it's giving, I hate to say this, but like mafia, like MAFIA, like someone who owes money or someone who's a part of an establishment that's like, I'm waiting for you to give me what you owe me. And if not, this is going to be the retribution. Or this is like a barter, some sort connected to the United States in the near future. I think there's also, it's going to be a law set in place by an elected official leader that has to do with tariffs and taxes. That's going to dry out something that like a country was once accustomed to. It's giving China right now. And open up the door for something else, but it ends up empowering that country, which then has private wishes and intentions globally that put a greater good at whole. This is not something that seems avoidable. It seems awakening. Knowing that you have to be comfortable with going along with this, I don't say narrative, but with this storyline, because there's really nothing that, we're not powerless in this because we can contribute to our own feeling of safety and security. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not like, again, like what can you do? Like, of course, voting, but I just think we don't have options. We think we do not have options. Let's shuffle from the Black Goddesses Within Oracle and just get a look into... Actually, no. Let's do the Wild Offering. I don't regret doing this. I literally don't. I don't say I don't care. I do care. I'm not afraid. Like, I'm not... Someone needs to say that to themselves or the American people. I am not afraid. You're more powerful than the elected officials. Okay, let's see here. This deck was given to me by my friend who is a living, breathing mermaid who is traversing through the mountains. So thank you, darling. First card we have is service. That is something right there. That tells you a lot. This is exactly what it was that I was talking about earlier, which is us going back into a place where we need to be of service to humanity. We need to stop putting our own individual needs as a country, and as individual countries, we need to stop putting our own individual needs first and foremost, saying that's for the betterment of everyone when it's really not. We also can't expect our leaders or people in position of power to care for humanity in the way that is of a high vibration. If we can't expect that of them, why do we expect a high vibrational outcome? The high vibration needs to come from us individually. Let me read to you this card really quickly. It says service. You stop using the universe. Emphasis on using the universe to try to get what you want, and start asking love to use you. Use you. You offer all and want to be of service. Ironically, many desires become fulfilled without grasping or manipulation. Exactly. There's this question that Spirit says about looking into how people manipulate, and it's not for the greater good. They will label it and market it and sell it as this is good for all of us. This is what we need. But if you actually sat with yourself, you would see. The next card here we have is the Hierophant, and this has a lot to do with government, established tradition, the way that things are elected, the way that people are in positions of power, that we think, oh, it's just the way that it is, it's the way that it always will be. Not necessarily the case. I'm taking a break for some tea. Wow, that is fire. My goodness, that is good. I love tea so much. Why is it stuck to the thing? Whew. I'm sipping cinnamon tea this afternoon. Okay, next card we have here. Impatience. My life is unfolding in divine timing. All delays are beneficial. I'm always at the right place at the right time. Someone here is impatient, like literally impatient to start a new chapter or new journey when it comes to self-sufficiency. I felt the same. Spirit is kind of leading me into talking about like how I started my homestead with the chickens and they're having eggs and stuff, and the trial and the errors of all of it. And I see someone getting a move on that. It doesn't need to be perfect in order for it to be the positive change that you need. Think about throughout history how people have made, and I've been saying this for the longest time, have been growing their gardens and growing their own food. It doesn't have to even be like you have a whole farm or that you even have property. Have been promising you guys for the longest time that on Queen Bee Homestead I would teach you how to grow your food and your resources, not so that you could be dependent on it, but that you don't have to be so dependent on resources, right? How to use rain barrels. I have a few things on Queen Bee Homestead Co. Maybe in the future I'll get more involved in that after I give birth, but yeah. Excuse me. When it comes to the word impatience, this is about getting a move on a little bit more, taking it more seriously on the things that you want to grow and do for yourself that make you more self-sufficient and give you peace of mind. Think about how back in the day when times were tough, like really times were tough, how the community kind of relied on each other. See if you could be someone who can create something like that, like a food share exchange thing or resources exchanging. Also, I've been getting these download lately about like freeing yourself from restriction, this expectation that we each individually have to in our work and our finances and how the lives that we live, like the lifestyle of being too expensive, it's not realistic. This is a wonderful time, if you look at it, that people traditionally scale back, and how what should have been important the entire time becomes a priority once again. The Star card, yes. This is about having hope and having a vision for the future, but also knowing that when you're in the darkness, when you're in the midst of it, you want to rush out of it so much, but you have to understand that as spiritual beings here right now, your part of you being of service is being a part of the light that is here on earth, and not someone who's just following along with the masses. You could be someone who is a beacon of truth and light, who shares a different perspective when the world around you, the community, your family, your friends are spiraling because they're watching things on the news take them down that path, and you can empower them. That's what you can do during this time, and that's what you can do for yourself. Confidence. Be really careful too with this word confidence here. Be really careful of confidence versus ego and egotism. Yeah, divine confidence is completely different from the bravado of the ego. I was just saying that. You make space for something larger to take hold. Please fill me with your confidence of love. Grant me courage I never knew I had. And the card connected with that is the Wheel of Fortune. Yes, this is about things changing in time. Things evolving in time. Things shifting in their own time. So don't be patient. Don't be impatient with the journey, because this is needed. This is necessary. It's also, when we get to a healthier time and season, don't think that people won't take it for granted once more. Think about what happens when people get comfortable. They stop putting in the effort and they stop trying. They start kind of using and abusing certain situations again, like they did, which set them in that place to begin with. That's what Spirit's reminding me of right now. So even though this may seem like in the midst of things it's turbulent, this is a wonderful time to get back to the root. Speaking of which, let's look at the Black Goddess within Oracle and ask for... Okay, we have our 3 cards. This one goes in the middle. This one's going to go right here. And this one goes right here. I'm going to start with the middle. Number 24. Adudwa. If there is any goddess that represents the elegant sophistication of two-ness and complexity found in completion, it is Adudwa. I'm probably not saying her name correctly. As one of the oldest deities in the Yoruba pantheon, sorry guys, I've been stumbling over my words, the smallest words, the largest words, in between words. There are innumerable stories told about the creatress. She is purity, and she is lasciviousness. I think there's like ampleness, abundance. She is an ancient deity and she is human. She is blind yet all-seeing. She is woman and wife and also man and king. Contrary to what one might think, these stories do not contradict, for a goddess can do and be all things. She can even float on wisps of air, transforming into the nothing that is everything. She contains the wisdom of the extremes and everything in between. She holds for us an infinite source of ancestral wisdom. As creator of the earth, she confirms the primordiality of blackness, reigning over her creations, the black loom of the earth and the black of the people. She is unapologetically feminine, fertile, and fierce. If you have pulled this card, the ancestors are asking you to set aside some of the one-sided stories you tell about yourself. It is time to create new ones that honor the scope of your wisdom and experience. You are a complete and powerful being with a direct connection to your creative source. The invitation is to embrace that which appears to be in contradiction and know that you are whole, unbridle your creativity. That is a huge thing right now. That is a huge message. This one-sided story that we tell, I'm right, you're wrong, this is that, this is that, this is the solution, this is that. No, it's complex. It's complex. The next card we have $15. Mbokumu. You will find Mbokumu immersed in a lush and vast tropical forest that is older than the oldest trees. The forest is so unknowable that it is often considered itself a powerful deity, walking the labyrinth of mysteries that wends in the wildwood. She cultivates plant beings and shares her immense knowledge freely with her people. She is the first gardener. Where she plants, gardens prosper. This right here. She also has a special relationship with a particular plant, the sacred libaka or silk cotton tree. The libaka tree symbolizes the unity between the seen and unseen, a breathing, rooted connection between the ancestors and the living, meaning union. The libaka tree stands an ancestral witness. The new village is not complete until the libaka tree is planted, surrounded by other plants and trees from the previous village. If you're pulling this card, the ancestors are reminding you that the ancients and their wisdom are always with you in both physical form and in spirit. The time-honored libaka tree reminds you that ancestral connection is vital to divinely inspired action. The invitation is to consult with your ancestors before embarking on new ancestors. Invite them to party. So the other thing that I'm seeing with this is not only self-sustainability, growing resources, growing food, and creating for yourself, being able to contribute to things that you can create for yourself and being divinely inspired in what that may look like for you, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be food. You can trade, you can barter other things, especially the word tariff keeps showing up. If that's the problem globally, then it can be the solution intimately and in the community. I hope that makes sense. But I'm also seeing this sense of union and coming together showing up as well. Let me see if I can find it again. Yeah, she cultivates plant beings and shares her immense knowledge freely with her people. She is the first gardener. Where she plants, gardens prospers. Yeah, the libaka tree symbolizes the unity between the seen and unseen. So there's that word unity showing up again. Protection. 41. This has a lot to do with confidence and the Wheel of Fortune and how you're being protected regardless of what the leadership, what the countries, the government is doing. In your life, you will fight many battles. Instead of physical combat, your fields of battle may be emotional, mental, or spiritual. Also, don't allow this battle that's going on globally to be a battle that you take on internally. That does not have to be the solution. That doesn't have to be the way. Across the continent of Africa, there is a long, proud, and regal history of warrior queens and warrior women guarding their homelands, rejecting colonialism, and reinventing tradition. You can draw inspiration from their cunning, fortitude, and strength to live into victory. As far back as 700 years before the Common Era, women warriors have been resisting incursions and safeguarding their lands. Queen Dahia al-Kahina, from what is now known as Mauritania, for example, resisted Arab invasion, ultimately recapturing her natal city. In Meroe, present-day Sudan, queen mothers known as Kadakis ruled the lands in their own right for more than 600 years. The most well-known Kadaki was Queen Amarinas. In her time, she was world famous for stealthily defeating the Romans and establishing a peace that lasted for nearly 200 years. The queen took up the mantle of queen after the death of two related kings, her father and brother. Trained in the martial arts and politics, the queen ruled for 40 years and relied on her strategy and cunning to gain victory over Portuguese colonizers after a 30-year war. Most recently, the extensively trained Mino warriors of Dahomey, present-day Benin, made up nearly one-third of the army. This all-female corps learned to hunt, fight, and handle weapons, muskets, clubs, and machetes from a young age. You shall be victorious. This card reminds you that victory is in your DNA. You may need to dig deep to activate it. Consider doing some fighting ritual and bringing the energy of victory to your next encounter. The invitation is to stand up for yourself, to fight for power. Your warrior urges to defend aren't wrong. Call out personal and social injustice. That right there is a whole message. That's what you can do. Okay, so let me shuffle from this deck right here. This last one, Work Your Light. This is just to add additional support and encouragement as we end our reading and what we can expect, what's going on. Work Your Light deck is about raising your vibration. Oop, this definitely wants to come out. This one, and this one, and this one. I just heard truth tellers, like people who tell truth. Tell the truth boldly, courageously, telling the truth. The first card we have is birthing a new age. Exactly. Birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being, and that's exactly what is happening today. It's a new age, a new time. Pillar of Light. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. So this is about focusing definitely on you increasing your light, your vibration, and not allowing the outside world, the external battles to turn inward. Priestess, how are you being called to step up and lead? There's this emphasis on leadership and also you being the leader of your own community or your own tribe or your own family or your own life. Not looking at these external leaders and being like, okay, this is who I have to call, make me safe right now. No, safety is a feeling that you can give to yourself. Get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. Exactly. And whatever form that may look like for you. The next card, deep replenishment, retreat, rest, and be held. That's another solution here, another message to help support you. The United States too, there's this need to kind of breathe, like seriously breathe and reconnect back with ourselves and empower ourselves to the inner. I love how the priestess is in the center of this reading, kind of reminding us of where we get our power from is from this divine source. We don't sit with ourselves and come up with solutions and answers. We allow ourselves to open up to the divine's wisdom and allow that wisdom to flow through us. And then we're inspired into action, right? And in the meantime, it gives us courage. It gives us support. It gives us strength. It gives us nourishment. Those are the things that it is that you can call out for. Those are things that you may need right now. So, all right, my loves, I hope that this has provided comfort and answers for you as far as the spiritual realms, how the spiritual realms see what is going on globally and why this is an important time, even though it's a difficult time. Do keep your hands clean, meaning keep your hands and your soul and your spirit clean by not contributing to the chaos and making sure that you don't allow the chaos to get within and to get you flustered. None of this should be giving you anxiety. If you do feel bouts of anger and rage and resistance and rebellion, it's because it's called for you to activate and to fight, to be someone who is fighting. And fighting for you can look like your voice. It can look like you're voting. It can look like you doing your research. It can look like you empowering and educating other people. There's so many different ways. It doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to be violent. It can be quiet. It can be still and still be powerful. So I'm sending you guys all of my love, not just here in the United States, but globally. I love you guys. The vibration is high here. It'll stay that way. It'll remain this way. And that is going to be a big part of my legacy, and I'm sure it's going to be a big part of yours. Until then, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, allowing me to shuffle and pull in this energy. Thank you, spirits, for not overwhelming me, for protecting me while I tapped into this energy. I don't feel overwhelmed or exhausted in any way. I do want to invite you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's plenty more videos where this came from, and I'll see you guys at my next one. What are some of the predictions and visions that you guys are seeing for the future? How are you feeling about the future? Let me know down in the comments. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.